Thank you.
Yeah, that's
You didn't charge me
Trisha
anything.
Gilphone. Trisha Gilphone. Look her up.
Okay, I'm gonna need an address.
Right, yeah.
No, I mean, I like it. I think it's very impressive. AD on the radio. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
During the break, our guest Koncept was telling me how impressed he was with the show and how it's put together, and I have to take absolutely no credit for that whatsoever. It all comes from the twisted mind of super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser.
Check out the brain on me.
Yeah,
It's
making
clear
me
sitting
look and
here
sound
next to
better
him.
than I am.
Yeah, hey, well, we all need help.
Yes.
Somebody's got to push the candy-colored buttons.
There you go.
Anyways, we'll get into your podcast, Wake the Flock Up, in just a little bit. Right now, though, let's roll through what remains of the news, Funkhauser.
Well, HBO wants Game of Thrones to last 7 more seasons.
Jesus Christ.
That's a lot of seasons.
Or as I know it, 925,000 more close-ups of boobies.
Yeah. But there's a lot of man-wang, though, too. Can I say man-wang on the radio?
No, you just did.
Okay.
So, yeah, go right ahead.
Not that I, count them. But per episode, there's got to be at least 6 or 7.
6 or 7 per episode? Okay.
Some count as 2, depending on who it is,
The guy who's not counting.
No, I'm not counting.
Right.
Not at all. Not at all.
Wait, so I actually don't watch, I've seen Game of Thrones a few times. I'm not. It's one of those things that is such a big investment of time. Watching Game of Thrones and getting caught up on it is such a big investment of time that I don't have. So I haven't really gotten into it. I've watched enough, and when I hear that there's boobies if I hear there's large amounts of gore or boobies in a particular episode, I'll watch it for science. But there's that one guy. Do you watch the show?
You know what? I don't watch it, but I flipped enough to it to know to avoid it.
I've seen all the clips.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure if I watch that show, I'm going to die of dehydration. Because I'm never going to not stop watching that show. I can't. I'm going to die when it's on Netflix. I already know.
So there's this one guy. There's I think he plays a giant in Game of Thrones that's breaking world records left, right, and center as a strongman. Have you come across this?
I personally have not seen that.
Okay, no, he's
to
Google we go.
The
Game
Google
of
machine.
Thrones,
Yeah, absolutely.
strong man. And when you say some man wang counts as 2, I was wondering if you were referring to this guy because he performs incredible feats of strength.
If he's too juiced up, then it might.
Are you talking about Hector Julius Thor Bjornsson?
Can you give me that name again, please?
He's Hector Julius Thor Bjornsson.
Yeah,
that's actually his name.
An Icelandic professional strongman. He's the guy you're talking about.
Yeah. On the show, he plays the Mountain.
Yeah, he is one tall drink of water.
Bjornsson.
There you
that's
go.
funny.
Johnson.
I went to school with a bunch of Swedish kids. Oh my God, there's a picture of Bjornsson standing next to a normal sized person here. It's insane. He really is. Wow, that's crazy.
He's a gigantic man.
He is a gigantic. There's got to be some giantism at play here. He must have had a berserk pituitary gland and been shaving since he was 5 years old. That's bananas. He's huge.
How do they get him to not eat that one short guy on the show? You know what I'm talking about? I feel bad now because I don't know his name.
Spoiler alert.
Is he a what's
5 seasons ago?
What's the appropriate word for the little person?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How did it not?
I think little person is the move.
I'm talking about the guy, the king. You know what I'm saying? The little midget guy.
Yeah.
He must be trying to eat him all the time, right?
But he's always hungry for.
No, that's wrong. I apologize.
Isn't he the guy that squished his? Spoiler alert.
Yeah. That guy.
Oh. Okay.
There's not too many spoiler alerts in Game of Thrones because it's all a book that's been written before. The guy that came up with it, he said that he was at a party with some of the actors, and he wouldn't say which actor. I think he was on Conan talking about it, but he was one of the actors came up to him and said, "Oh, this is my favorite job I've ever had. Please don't kill me off." And he was like, "You must not have read chapter 9."
No.
Okay, I'm just going to ignore that one. Hey, I got a message from Jason Elliott, who's listening to this show. He said, "You wrote it, you watch it" was the name of Jon Stewart's show on MTV. He also had a show on UPN.
Wow.
Oh, the old UPN.
Wow.
Is that still a thing? There is no UPN
No, it
anymore,
became
is it?
something.
Remember the WB?
The frog.
With the dancing
frog.
WWE.
Come watch primetime TV vampires. Oh, up-a-doo.
What else, Funkhauser?
Well, you can't bring a selfie stick to Coachella or Lollapalooza, so don't even try.
But I think they're encouraged at the annual Annoying Narcissist Music Fest. The selfie stick...
Oh, that's happening in Silver Lake this year.
But anything can be a selfie stick
Brilliant.
if you got gum, right?
I don't know, man. You know what? I actually despise the term selfie. I really do. Because it sounds so light in the loafers. I'm going to take a selfie. And sometimes you just want to document the time that you're spending with someone. Like when I went to my sister's wedding, I was like, oh man, I don't trust a photographer here to get the shot that I want. Let me take a picture of myself and my sister. Let me get a picture of me and her and the groom. Like these are actually, that was the first time where I was really excited to take photos at an event where I was like, wow, these are actually precious memories to me, and I want to document them forever. So I was taking pictures of me and other people at the same time. That's how I describe it. And everyone was like, oh yeah, you're taking selfies. I was like, real men don't take selfies. They take photos of themselves.
Portraits of oneself. But see,
portraits of oneself.
That's not hip though. So what would have you thought of what you would want to call them if not selfies?
I don't think. I think it all starts to go downhill quickly when you give it a name.
Oh,
when you call it a selfie, that's
that.
bad news. You just have to say, I'm documenting an experience.
For science.
Thanks. It's not a selfie.
The best that I can be. So when my time is done, I can say I had some fun. I'm just trying to be the best that I can be. So when my time is done, I can say I had some fun. Yo, I always hit the track with undeniable style. While digging ditches for bitches, I'm causing miles of smiles. Building bridges to riches while spitting venom and vile. Not stacking piles of papers, but yo, I think I will in a while. The world will wake up to this modern kind of style. I bring a portion of proper accolades and fortune will be smiling upon what I do and the things that I say. A renaissance of thought leading us all to brighter days. So I don't believe that you're as stupid as what they tell me. And I do believe that we're beyond the mediocrity, monopoly of our conformity of the way we're taught. The despondency, dishonesty, the cacophonous bureaucracy. I'm just trying to be the best that I can be. So when my time is done, I can say I had some fun. I'm just trying to be the best that I can be. So when my time is done, I can say I had some fun. Man, sometimes it's just so hard to be a good person, to lift yourself up and try and be that better version of all the potential people you got living in your mind. It takes more than happy chance and circumstance. You gotta decide that you're gonna keep your head up, treat people how you wanna be treated, hold doors and be polite, try not to be conceited. But sometimes, kinda sorta all the times it seems it's true. It's harder than anything else to observe that golden rule, especially when everybody you meet seems like a freaking tool. And it seems like everyone's got a whole lot of chlorine in their gene pool. Sometimes I get angry, I tell everyone to fight me, especially on days when the universe is trying to spite me. And I think to myself, I'm better than that. Think to myself, I'm better than that. Think to myself, I'm better than that. Better than that, better than that. I'm just trying to be the best that I can be. So when my time is done, I can say I had some fun. I'm just trying to be the best that I can be. So when my time is done, I can say I had some fun. Think for yourself, you're better than that. Think for yourself, you're better than that.
Delivering fascinating subjects, interesting talk, and boobs and fart jokes. AD on iHeartRadio.
Yeah, oh, let's go. Talking that mess, better act like you know. Oh, let's go tonight. Walk away, punk, yeah, bitch. That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. So walk away, yeah.
Alrighty then, we are stoked to be joined on the air by Koncept 714, host of Wake the Flock Up, which is, are you the only one that's doing sort of like the long form independent hip hop podcast? Because you're certainly the only one I've come across.
Yes, my podcast is the only one in the world.
Yes,
there
yes,
are no
it's
other
the only one in the
podcasts
world.
but mine.
And like you can hear him on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, TuneIn. You're on more platforms than I think we are. Like that's interesting.
Yeah, and I play 24/7 in my car. I do not allow my wife to listen to anything else but Wake the Flock Up.
It's good. I especially if you're any kind of a fan of the independent hip hop scene, the way.
Yeah, we've been really blessed with the amount of traffic that we're getting and the love that we're receiving from the actual artists themselves. You know, whenever they come on, the goal is to have them leave saying, "I've never been interviewed this way before." And luckily, 99% of the time, that's exactly what they're saying. You know, like this is the interviews that are needed. This is the interviews that hip hop needs for the more maturing audience of hip hop. You know, if you're like anything like me, I'm in my 30s now, or I'm 30, and I grew up with hip hop. So now the hip hop that's out now doesn't really entice me. So I still want to refer back to my Master A's and my Rocka. You know, so I still want to listen to them some way. And I think this is a more mature way to present it to the new audience.
All right, so you know what's interesting? Maybe you can clear this up for me. Like the type of hip hop music that is sort of my bread and butter that I really like. I guess anything that's newer that's come out sounding like this. People refer to it as, and it's so funny because like I kind of got to a point, like I program a radio station, and you kind of get to the point where you stop standing on ceremony and worrying about what's cool, and you just think, is this going to work for the people that listen to the radio station? You throw what's cool and what's hip and what's in and what's out the window, and just think, how am I going to super serve the person that is doing me the courtesy of listening to the radio station I work with? So I stopped putting labels on things. And when people hear about the artists I like, they're like, "Oh, you like backpacker hip hop?" I was like, "I do. Is that a thing?" And is that a term that you'd associate with what you do? Because like it was funny. I was like, "I like backpacker hip hop. All right, let me look this up." And I just found this whole forum on Reddit trashing it, saying it was garbage. I was like, "Hey, I like this." What the hell?
There's a negative connotation with backpacking hip hop, even in hip hop in general. Like it's somehow gives you like an unestablished rapport around you. You know, people automatically assume that you don't have a legitimate studio, or you're not really pursuing anything seriously, when it's more of a style and mentality of hip hop. So like a group like Dilated Peoples, who has been around forever and has initially, they started underground and they pursue their dreams, and now they're signed to big labels, and they've done a song with Kanye West. I mean, Kanye West is a huge artist. Are they still considered backpack hip hop? They are, because of what they talk about and the way that it's delivered. Outside of that, there's really, the only difference is how much you really want to appease to a broader audience, or to kind of gain more followers for who you are. So how much are you willing to forfeit to gain that bigger audience? Or are you willing to stay true to yourself and deliver the art that you want to deliver, not what needs to be delivered to gain 1 million followers on YouTube, or, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I think people really have a misconception of backpack hip hop, that it's not taken seriously by the artist, when it might be taken even more seriously, because you're not willing to compromise as much.
Yeah, because to me, like, there's this huge negative connotation toward backpack hip hop, and I guess like somebody told me that's what I make, like the goofy rap songs I make in my spare time. They're like, "Oh, you're backpack hip hop." I was like, "I am," and then I found this whole forum trashing backpack hip hop. I was like, "What the huh?" And so all these sort of like qualities of going against the grain in terms of what's going to make you an ass ton of money in this day and age is because it sounds like a good thing to me. Like, if I have one problem with hip hop now, I think my biggest problem with it is it sounds like everybody's trying so hard and very few people are just being themselves. And I think that to me is some BS. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
In a realm where you're kind of judged on the amount of likes that you have on your Facebook page, or the followers that you have on Twitter, everyone's trying to appease to the biggest amounts of people that they can, obviously, right? And yes, if you're in this if you're in this business, your business is to sell music and as much of it as possible, right? But when it comes to a point where you're kind of forgetting your roots, that's never good in any business that you're in, because now you open yourself up to like corruption and distortion of your art. And that artistically, if you're looking at it, hip hop is music in general is the art that people listen to while they make art. So if you have any impure